At this time, I want to introduce our keynote speaker for tonight. Dr. Dale K. Nesberry is in his 11th year as president of our own Muskegon Community College. Since his appointment, that's worthy of a hand clap. Since his appointment, a $24 million bond authorization was approved by the Muskegon County voters, while the college has secured more than $20 million in grants and private gifts to support the most ambitious upgrades of its facility since the construction of the main campus in 1967. He was recently elected chair of the 28-member Michigan Community College Association President Committee and selected as its 2019 Newsmaker of the Year Education Division by the Grand Rapids Business Journal. Prior to MCC, Dr. Nesberry served as Vice President and Dean of Academic Affairs at Adrian College, and also an Associate Professor and Director of Masters of Business Administration program at Oakland University. Additionally, he served as Research Director and Technical Service Director with the Boston Police Department and held a leadership position with the City of Boston's Central Administration. He also has held the position with the National Conference of State Legislators in Denver, Colorado, and in Michigan State Fiscal Agency. Dr. Nesberry published 3 books and over 30 academic papers, primarily in the area of financial, technology, and policing, and has keynoted as the State National Conference on a variety of topics. He completed his PhD in law, policy, and society at Northeastern University in Boston, a Master's of Public Administration degree from Western Michigan University, a Bachelor of Arts degree from Michigan State University. He is a member of the local, state, and national board and is a proud Silver Life member of the NAACP. He resides in Muskegon, Michigan with his beautiful wife of 40 years, Connie. He is a proud father of 2 adult children, Nicole, his daughter, and Matthew, his son. His interests include baking bread and making jams, the jelly jams, because also he likes to play the trombone. So Brother Cook, you got a friend over here. I present to you Dr. Dale Nesberry.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for the kind introduction, and thank you all for giving me such a warm welcome. You know, I should note that while I couldn't see from where I was sitting, recognized lots of names, and I believe you all just gave my speech, so I think I'll say it. Oh, seriously, thank you very much. This is an honor for me to be in front of you today. Seriously, about half of what's here was covered in the video, but what I will do is read some of what I was going to, go off track a little bit, and then share a little bit of context from my background that relates to much of what you heard and others who I know and love. So on behalf of the Board of Trustees, faculty and staff, and 7,000 students of Muskegon Community College, thank you for allowing me to be here. I know we have some Muskegon Community College employees and perhaps some board members, and if you all would raise your hands, Muskegon Community College employees, colleagues, you know, a couple of you here, and students. And future students, from what I understand. So we're stretching our wings out a little bit. And indeed, as a silver life member of this organization, it's an honor to be in front of you. Now, in this room, we have NAACP members, board members, life members, visitors from in and out of town, and previous speakers at this event. So the pressure's on here, folks. So if I get a little nervous, just let me know. But I actually had to change this a little bit more because what I originally had in this speech was, please put your cell phones away unless you're live streaming my Michigan State Spartans crushing the souls of Wisconsin. It didn't exactly work out that way, so take your phones out and ignore everything that I have to say. But seriously, I'm especially appreciative to be able to pinch hit for Dr. Jerome Reed. He is the regional field director for the NAACP's national office. He's also a Lansing guy, and I assumed that maybe Dr. Reed, instead of speaking here, he went to Madison, Wisconsin to watch that game, but I really hope he didn't. He's a Brown Spartan just like me. So yeah, he's hopefully he's somewhere a little bit more pleasant than there. So let's get right to it. Now I have a couple simple points I'd like to make. Number one, the crisis is not over. And number two, it is imperative that we take action if we're going to be successful in moving ourselves forward. Now, something that if you visit the NAACP website, you might have read this. If you're familiar with the organization in somewhat of a deep fashion, you might have seen this somewhere out there. So our theme this year is when we fight, we win. Now, this brings attention to the hard-fought victories that helped people of color overcome, but most importantly, highlighted what the fight looks like as we move forward into 2020. Now, the NAACP was founded after a white mob in Springfield, Illinois, destroyed a black neighborhood and lynched 2 African-American men. Now, that was a crisis, and some of those same things are still happening today. I know it makes people uncomfortable to hear that or believe that, but it is what's going on. We see it on videos and we see it in the news every single day. So there's a reason why you all are still here. A group of men, including renowned scholar and historian W.E.B. Du Bois, said no more. This is not going to happen. That was 1909. And for the next 110 years, the NAACP has been fighting for our right to sit here and commune among each other. Now, the Civil Rights Organization, again, if you visit the website, you can see some of this, but I think it's worthwhile hearing and listening to, especially the younger you are. I'm 64 years old. I must have married my wife when I was 5. And she was like 2. I don't know, a lot younger, but they've been fighting for our rights for a long time. If you know our history, they were fighting and speaking out against the film Birth of a Nation. They successfully opposed a horrible Supreme Court nominee and integrated college campuses and organizations around the country. They fought against segregation in housing, as you heard, housing in schools, and won. And today, they're fighting for a broader group of individuals in this country, including LGBTQ and those who are immigrating to this country. Now, one of the reasons that I'm so passionate about Michigan State, I joke a lot about it, but there are reasons why I care about that institution, and I attended there for this reason. They take the crisis seriously. If you know the history of Michigan State, they were one of the first research-one universities to integrate. They were one of the first athletic programs to integrate. And if you followed football back in the day, I'm 64, so I remember these days, at least in the 60s, MSU was a national power. They won national championships, they won mini conference championships, but it was mainly because of that pipeline they had to the south, bringing up African American students who wanted to be athletes who could not perform in the south, could not perform in most of the north. If you've heard these stories about how Bear Bryant integrated his team after he had some warm and fuzzy conversations with many coaches here, including Michigan State's coaches, about how well we were doing, those are all lies. He didn't want anyone in his program, and they were losing left and right to schools like Michigan State and Southern Cal until he found the right way to go. And so he made that decision. And that's one of the reasons, me personally, it's very important to me. As when I was in high school, I was primarily a musician, much better musician than an athlete. But reading those stories and seeing what was happening out there in the real world, that told me that this nation needed to change. And it was schools like Michigan State that made that difference. So as much as I joke a lot about my Spartans, they have real meaning in the movement that we're a part of. Now, I have a couple bits of information I'd like to share with you. One about why I think you invited me here, and then the other about why I actually came. And so you might know that there might be just slightly different here. So Muskegon Community College, as was noted, we've been able to secure lots of funding, been able to do lots of things that hadn't been done in the past. You know, that gives the college attention, that gives the community attention, it brings visitors to Muskegon who would not have been here before. We've sent multiple groups, you may not know this, to Carnegie Hall, a band and a choir. We've been selected the best community college in the state of Michigan, and we constantly are ranked among the top 5 in the state for the 28 community colleges. So we're doing very well as an institution. This particular group, my colleagues here, the diversity of our senior staff has improved dramatically from what it was before. I don't know if Janie Brooks is here, but Janie, you should have been president before I was. For some reason, the Board of Trustees did not have the wisdom to appoint someone as strong as Janie Brooks or Preston Williams, who ultimately became one of the most respected presidents of a college or university in the country, serving for, I believe, 25 years around the country, but not in Muskegon, because in those days, that wasn't going to happen. So speaking of shoulders upon which we all are risen, on which we sit, I understand who was here before, and I appreciate the work that you've done to allow me to stand before you. So Janie, it's just unfortunate that the board wasn't there, but years later, they identified that this was not something that they should be doing, and they made a change. And I very much appreciate the fact that they were that forthright in what they did. Now, personally, my background was noted. I've done a few things in my life.